Everyone can just start by finding themselves on their mat. However feels comfortable to you, you can sit cross-legged. You can put one foot on top of each knee. Experiment a little bit with a half lotus or go into full lotus. Just something that you can comfortably sit in for a few minutes as we begin our practice. So in Colorado right now, the sun is down, it's beginning to be dark. You might have had a long day of work or school or something in your life. So we'll just take a few minutes to realign our focus and get ready to start our practice for the evening. First thing we're going to do is start with a little bit of self-massage. As it is cold and flu season, it's really important to fine-tune our breathing, and part of yoga is breathing as clear as we can. So we'll start with just taking your peace fingers, your 2 fingers, and pressing at the bridge of your nose lightly and working out, and then upwards towards your temples, kind of tracing the lower end of your eye socket. Just with some slow strokes. Again, gentle pressure here. Take a deep breath in and let it go. You might want to take these same fingers, take the strokes from the middle of your forehead out and over your eyebrows, just smoothing any creases you might hold from concentration, focus throughout the day. Take another deep breath in and let it out. Next thing we'll do is something that the yogis call Nodi Shadana, which is translated from Sanskrit to alternate nostril breathing. You'll take your pinky and your thumb, and we'll alternate holding each nostril. You'll breathe in for 4 counts, close or seal both nostrils, hold for 4 counts, and then let go, release on the opposite nostril for 4 counts. So we'll start thumb on the right nostril. If you're right-handed, you can feel free to switch if you're left-handed. Breathe in through the left nostril on 4 counts here. Hold for 4 counts. And release the opposite nostril 4 counts. Continue at your own pace. 4 counts might be a long time if you're doing this for the first time, or you can extend it if you want to continue building up that pattern in your breathing, a little more control over your body and maybe your mindset going into the practice. Well, I'll just give you a little bit of a preface for what we're going to do today. So, yoga is something that can be used to help find calm and joy in situations or life circumstances that might be otherwise very stimulating. And it gives us a chance to take a break from that, fine-tune our practice, become self-disciplined, as well as just work on our flexibility, our strength, our core, our balance. It can help prevent injuries and focus your attention on what you are going to focus your life on. So I think all of these lend our way to taking these practices and applying them to things in our lives that might not necessarily have anything to do with yoga. If you're continuing the alternate nostril breathing, you can try to increase by 1 count. So if you're at 4, you can go to 5. So this got me thinking about the topic of the flow state, which is a topic that really has interested me and I've been reading a lot on recently. And skiing and yoga are both activities that personally bring me flow. And so I wanted to share the 8 characteristics of what we consider flow, for those that aren't familiar. And basically the flow state is a state in which you get if you are completely focused on a task and what experts and psychologists describe as having the optimal life experience. So 8 characteristics of flow are complete concentration on the task. There's a clarity of goals and rewards in mind with immediate feedback. So you're putting energy in and you're getting energy out. There's a transformation of time, whether that be time slows down or it continues to go on and you have no idea of how much time has passed. The experience itself is intrinsically rewarding, so you're not gaining ego or external things always out of it, but it's something that gives you value inside yourself. This activity or element is otherwise effortless, and you seem to do it with ease no matter how good you are at the activity. There's a balance between challenge and skills so that you can feel increasing mastery over something, but you're always working towards something new. There's actions and awareness that are kind of merged together, and you kind of lose a sense of being self-conscious or ruminating on things that otherwise don't hold a lot of significance. And ultimately, there's a feeling of control over this task, which we as humans come to crave in our lives and something that we can create within these experiences. So go ahead and release from that pattern of the alternate nostril breathing. And we'll just sit for a few more counts here, just deep breathing, maybe taking a moment to figure out where your headspace is at. Seeing if the way your physiology, your breathing has affected how you felt maybe just 5 minutes ago to how you're feeling now. So, though yoga might not be something that personally brings you flow, I think it's something that we can cultivate in our everyday lives and maybe something that you can work on integrating into your life. So if there's a moment during this practice that's otherwise hard, maybe think about how you can fine-tune your focus, have some clarity about a reward or a goal that you're going to set within your practice, whether that be mindfulness or keeping control of your breath, having complete concentration over the task and really having a set of goals in mind where you're not worried about what other people are doing, other people are thinking, and ultimately enjoy the experience. So from here, we'll slowly turn to a point where we're in a tabletop position. And we'll sink into child's pose very briefly here. Resting our forehead on the ground, reaching our arms as far as we can ahead of us, but pulling our shoulders down and away from our ears before resting that head on the ground. You can move your head side to side, giving yourself a little forehead massage. We'll try to find some grip on the ground below you with your fingers. Pull yourself up to that tabletop position. So this time, knees below hips, wrists below your shoulders, neutral spine. We'll take a couple rounds of cat-cow here. Inhale, looking up, arching our back. Exhaling, tucking the tummy into the spine, looking downwards. And on our deep breathing, however whatever pattern fits your current breathing. Do a few more of these. And maintain a neutral spine. So you can kind of wag side to side, loosen up that lower back if you've been sitting in a desk chair for most of the day, as it's very common for a lot of us to do. Find some steadiness in your left knee and lift your right leg up so that your hips are still parallel to the ground. Don't open up to your right side. Keeping a neutral spine as well as the cervical part of your neck. So you're looking straight down rather than peering in front of you. And you can take turns pointing and flexing your foot here. Before doing some small pulses just to warm up the muscles in your legs. You can rest. Hold still, hold the leg up still, and lift your left hand up and in front of you as if you're reaching towards something or someone's reaching to shake your hand. Begin pulsing once more, this time with the arm as well. Trying to find some steadiness in maybe your core, or if your muscles are shaking a little bit here. Next, we'll reach our left hand back, see if we can find our right ankle. And if here is plenty stretch for you, please stay here. But if not, maybe experiment a little. Push against your hand with your leg and pull up and back with your arm and your hand itself. Gently release. Hand and knee finds their way back on the ground. Sit back into a very brief child's pose. And meet me again in a tabletop position. Find some steadiness now in that right knee before lifting our left leg up from the ground. Again, tapping in, see if you can maybe hit your abs, make sure they're engaged. Hips parallel to the ground. Do some small pulsing here. Play around with flexing and pointing your toes. And pause for just a moment so you can carefully lift your right hand up, out as if you're going to shake someone's hand in front of you. And do some gentle pulsing with both your arm and your leg. Again, waking up those muscles. Pause here. Right hand reaches back. Try to find your left ankle if you can't reach there. Always an option to take a rag or a dish towel or a band, have it around your foot and kind of pull it. And if this is easy for you, go ahead and push against the arm while lifting your foot off the ground. Gently, with control, release. Hand and knee meets the ground. And release into child's pose for just a little counter stretch if your back is feeling a little stiff here. Meet once more in a tabletop position before pushing back into our first down dog of the practice. So here, you might need to walk it out a little bit. Maybe experiment with putting your feet further apart, which will make it a little easier, typically, for someone to sink further into this pose. Taking turns bending your knees. Another way to go deeper into this pose so that maybe your heels are a little bit closer to the ground, bending your knees a lot, and then pushing up on your tiptoes, straightening your knees, and then sinking slowly towards the ground. Maybe try a few rounds of this and just see how it feels. This should be building a little bit of strength in your upper body as well. Take some care to kind of roll those shoulders up and away from the ears. And on an exhale, push away so that you're in a plank position. Believe it or not, the Sanskrit for this is Plankasana, which I always thought was funny. Rock back and forth on your toes a little bit if that helps distract you. We're just waking up that core a little bit. Push back down into our downward facing dog. Walking it out a little bit. And then tiptoeing our way to the top of our mat so that our feet might get as close as they can to our hands before we release into a forward fold. We're going to further release that lower back here by just bending our knees as much as you like and swinging back and forth very gently. Releasing our neck, our jaw. If your tongue is tense at the top roof of your mouth, just kind of take note of that. Release where you can. Put a lot of tension in our head and our neck. Bend our knees a lot so that we're sinking down, tucking our head in, straightening the legs, and rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae. So we find ourselves in a standing position. Mountain pose. So if you think about the positions that you're in when you're skiing or snowboarding, a lot of times our knees are slightly bent, as with most sports. I played competitive volleyball and it was no different. Your feet are parallel to each other in snowboarding. It's a little bit different. But it's building a lot of strength in our legs, our core, and our balance. So these are all things that I'm going to focus on in our class today, getting those tiny little muscles a little bit stronger. Forward into a forward bend once more, waving back and forth. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, hands find the ground. Right foot steps back. Low crescent lunge here. Right knee to the ground. Take note of your front foot here, the left. See if you can create what's closest to a right angle with your knee before rising up, hands towards the sky on an inhale. Baby back bend, if that's in your practice. Exhaling, hands frame the foot, pushing back, straightening the left front leg. And take care to flex your front foot here. It'll help protect your joints. Release once more, back into that lunge. Raise up. Baby back bend, you can do cactus arms, side to side like this. You can do a pointer finger. Point with hands clasped. You can do a piece. Prayer position. Anjali Mudra is what we call it. Hands to the ground. We're going to go back one more time here. See if you can move just a little bit deeper into this stretch. It especially might not be comfortable if you run regularly and you don't stretch as often, because these muscles can get really tight. Move forward once more. Hands frame the foot. Left foot goes back to meet the right plank position here. We're going to open to a side plank. So left foot is on the ground. Right foot can stack on top of it. It can go forward or behind. You can play around and create kind of a figure 4 position. Tap into that breathing again. A lot of times when we're strengthening our core, forget to breathe. Release. Right foot goes forward so that we're releasing into our forward lunge position. This time with the opposite leg. Reach up towards the sky on an inhale. Baby back bend. Release. You know it's coming here. Press back. Straighten the right leg. Flex the right foot. Try to bend only at your waist here before collapsing on your front leg. Only at the waist, only at the waist, only at the waist. And then stop wherever you are. There's no pride in this. There's no ego. Move forward once more into that low lunge. Check in here. See if you have what's close to a right angle with that front foot. Inhale, hands towards the sky. Engage every single fingertip. Wiggle them out a little bit. Hands frame the foot once more. Last time. Pushing back. This is also a great stretch to warm you up if splits is part of your journey, part of your practice, or something that you eventually want to work on. Slowly move forward to that plank position once more. Left foot up, right foot goes back to meet the left. And this time, open on the opposite side for side plank. Whatever you did the last time with your feet, try to experiment and do something a little bit different. So again, a few options. Foot in front, foot behind, stacked. Figure 4 position. Deep breath here. Don't forget to breathe. Release into normal plank. Plankasana. We move forward and back with toes. Push back into downward facing dog. Might feel a little bit different now that we've warmed up those leg muscles. Stretch them out a little bit. Walk out your dog. Forward once more to plank position. And right now we'll do a vinyasa flow. So chaturanga is part of my practice, but there's a lot of options where you can put your knees on the ground. Tricep push-up from there can be easily modified. Another option, knees on the ground, chest, push forward, and then a baby cobra. Full chaturanga, tricep push-up, up into upward facing dog. However you decided to do that, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Right foot goes up now. Check it, see if you're opening your hips to the side wall or if you're keeping your hips parallel to your mat. This first time I want you to try to keep the hips as parallel as you can to the mat. This might mean that your foot doesn't go as high as you want it in the air, and that's okay. Right foot comes in, knee to nose. Inhale, back up. Exhale, knee to nose once more. Inhale up. Exhale, foot plants on the ground. And we'll come into our warrior one position. So right foot is going to be parallel with the mat. Left foot about a 45-degree angle out. 90-degree angle on that front knee. Facing forward towards your right knee. Hands strong up away from your ears with those shoulders. Deep breath in, every fingertip engaged here. Maybe sink an inch lower if you haven't found that right angle yet, that's okay. We'll get closer. Here we'll open up into a warrior two. So same position, very slight difference. Opening up, so your body is now perpendicular to that front foot, and the back foot is now perfectly perpendicular to that front foot as well. Hands out straight to your sides. Your gaze goes right over your right middle finger. And find strength even in the tiniest muscles here. After all, this is warrior pose. It's meant to be strong. Even in the most passive positions or poses in yoga, I think you can find an element of strength that can tap into maybe part of that flow state. Raise up, straighten the front knee, keep your hips here, and reach forward like you're reaching towards something that's on a counter, but you can't walk towards it. You're reaching, and then fold over. Right hand can go to right shin, right ankle, the ground. Just be aware, take care to not put some weight on your knee here. So no hands on the knee. But anywhere else, be my guest. Open that side body, hand up towards the sky. If someone were to put 2 books on the side of you, if you were sitting on a bookshelf, you want to be as flat as you can here. We'll release towards the ground. Find a bend in that front knee once more, so that we turn that back foot and we're in a lunge position, knee off the ground this time. Right hand finds itself on the ground. Left hand opens up towards the sky. Again, moving the chest up and outward, heart center out, spread open. Remember to breathe. Release, straighten the foot, and alternate, twist to the opposite side. So this time, left hand on the ground, right hand up. And from here, we'll push up. You can move your left foot up a few inches if that's easier for you. Straighten the front leg and slowly raise up. Your feet are parallel in this position. They can be slightly off from each other, so they're not like you're walking on a tightrope here. We'll find strength in our core once more. Tap it, turn it on if you have to. Bend at the waist, only at the waist. Hands out in front of you. Slowly, slowly go on until you can't bend at the waist anymore, and then let the rest of your back curve it if it must on a forward fold here. Remember to release the neck. Look towards your shin and not in front of you. Push back into a lunge once more. Right foot finds the left. Plank position here, Plankasana. However you want to get to down dog, chaturanga, modifications, take it. And meet me in down dog for 3 big, delicious breaths here. Maybe find a sigh on that exhale, whatever feels good. So you know what's coming. We're going to do the exact same thing, opposite side. This time, left foot goes up. You find yourself opening to the side. Take a moment, tap into your awareness. Hips parallel to the mat. Knee and nose on an exhale. Crunch it in. Up on the inhale. Knee to nose once more. Up again. Up on inhale one more time before the exhale has the foot meet the ground. Left foot meet the ground. This time, right foot opens up. I'm going to switch directions so you can see me a little bit better. We'll raise into our warrior one position. So remember, back foot 45-degree angle this time. Hands up, strong, warrior position. Look at your fingers. Maybe feel a little bit of warmth that's found its way into your body as we've continued in our practice. Find your breath again if it's something you lost. Open up into warrior two now. Hands out strong. Gaze over the middle finger. And straighten your front leg here. To make things a little easier or more within your practice, you can always move in the back foot an inch or so. Bend at the waist only. Remember, reach for the cookie on the counter, whatever it might be, before folding over. And can find its way anywhere on the shin, the ankle, the foot, or the ground. Open up to the side here. Gaze towards the ceiling. Raise up here. Back to warrior two. Straighten the leg once more. Find yourself on that side body stretch. One more time. We'll turn so that we find ourselves hands framing the foot in a front lunge here. Right knee off the ground. Right hand on the ground. Left hand up. Chest open towards the side. Down and frame the foot before switching to the other side. Right hand up towards the sky. Opposite side, body stretch. A little bit of twist here. There's a lot of twisting that goes on when we're skiing and snowboarding down a mountain. It's important that your spine, your muscles, your core, and your back are ready for this repetitive motion. Hands frame the foot here. However you want to get to down dog, take it. Vinyasa, chaturanga, go through your flow. Stay here for 3 breaths. Maybe go up on your tiptoes. If you play around in down dog this time around, it might feel really different than the first time. From here, you can walk or hop to the front of your mat, or raise up once more, vertebrae by vertebrae. Hands up towards the sky. Typically, this is a sun salutation, but I guess tonight it's a moon salutation. Down, forward fold, halfway lift. And we'll find ourselves into a chair position. So when you're in chair position, a few things to remember. Your heels don't necessarily have to be touching right next to each other, but big toes should be touching. Knees parallel to one another. You don't want one in front of the other. Back is neutral, spine is neutral, straight back. No arch back here. Straighten it out, tuck it in. Tuck in the tailbone. And then bend like you're going to sit back into a chair. As you inhale, raise your arms up, forward, and above you. A few things to do here. By all means, if this is difficult, stay here. If not, you can go into a prayer position. Take the left elbow to the outside of the right knee for a little side body twist. You can even open your hands from here. Release to center. I know if you're shaking, it's hard. Stay with me here. Keep breathing. Opposite side now. Right elbow, if you're going to do the twist, to the left knee. Open your hands if you like. If your leg muscles aren't a little sore, sink a little deeper. Should definitely be feeling it. Another alteration of this I wanted to show. I know not everyone has a block, but you can use a thick book at home just for the future reference. Another great strength training exercise you can do, holding something in between your legs, keeps you accountable. For purposes of this class, I wanted it to be accessible to everyone, regardless of what you have at home, but I wanted to show that, just as you continue to train for the ski season. All right, release now, forward fold. You earned it. Sway back and forth a little bit. You can raise up to standing. Maybe shake out the legs. Release whatever lactic acid, whatever soreness you had there. And we'll slowly sink so that feet are about hip width distance. We're going to sink down into Malasana, or yogi squat. So your butt isn't touching the ground here. And if a squat for you looks like this, or what we were just at, by all means, stay there. You're doing great. If you want to continue sinking down, be sure not to release so that you're just sitting on the ground. Keep your legs up, your legs engaged and keeping your body up. You can make this into a hip opener stretch by pushing with your elbows to your knees outside your body. Left hand can meet the ground, or if you're in a higher squat, just towards the ground. And you can take the right hand up over and try to twist over to the side. Maybe tuck it, bend the elbow, and wrap the hand as far around towards your left side as you can. Gaze follows your right side. You can switch around, play around with this. Just another way to work small muscles, big muscle groups as well, that you don't often do in your everyday life. Slowly find your way back into a standing position. And we'll go through a little fun flow from here. So breathe in, inhale, hands towards the sky. I'm really close to a lamp here, so I'm not going to go higher than that. Release. Forward fold, hands towards the big toes. You can take your peace fingers, wrap them around the big toes, bend your knees a lot, bend your elbows out to the sides, pull your chest as tight as you can against your thighs, and then slowly start to straighten your legs, feeling a stretch the back side of both your legs. Release the jaw, release the neck here. Maybe play around with this. Halfway lift. Exhale, hands down. Hop or walk out to plank position. Chaturanga or modification as you need it. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Right foot up here to the sky. You can open this time. If wild things in your practice, you can flip around or just stay. Right foot on the ground. You can raise up into tiptoes. Right hand should be up and in front of your face. Release if you're in wild thing. We'll go to side plank. Left foot on the ground. Right foot's going to come up into a low lunge position. And with your left foot, try to bounce up a little bit so that you find yourself into a standing split. Now for me, standing split doesn't look like the splits. So if it doesn't for you, that's fine too. But your left foot should be up, hips parallel. Hands can be on a block if you have something, or some form of prop at home, or they can be on the ground. Release. Foot goes back, raise up into warrior one. Open, warrior two. Windmill the arms, frame the foot. Foot comes back to meet the left foot. Chaturanga, flow however you like. Meet me in down dog. 2 breaths here. Make them good ones. Deep breath in. Let it out on the side. This time, left foot up. You can open up to the side, by all means stay here, or flip over to wild thing. Left hand up, over, like you're reaching for something that's behind you. Gaze follows the left hand. Release if you're in wild thing. We'll find ourselves in a side plank. From here, left foot comes up. So we find ourselves in a lunge. Position that back foot 45-degree angle so you can rise up into a warrior one position. Open to warrior two. Windmill the arms forward, frame the foot. You know what to do. Upward facing dog. Meet me in downward facing dog. Stay here for a few breaths. So from here, you'll roll forward so that you put your knees on the ground. We'll go into that tabletop position that we started with today. And so typically when you sit back on your feet, this is a very common just resting on the ground seated position. The pose that I'm going to show you is called hero's pose. It's something that can help both skiers and snowboarders. It definitely involves some flexibility, so wherever you are with this, please be gentle with yourself. Something that you can do is take a blanket or even fold up part of your mat to make this a little easier on your knees. Please be gentle with yourself. So something that you can do is place the blanket on your calves so that when you sit back, you're not sitting down directly, so it's providing a little bit of space in between. For me personally, I'm a little bit hypermobile, so this isn't a problem for me, and it's a little easier to show without it. So you're going to sit back instead of directly on your feet. You're going to position your feet outwards so that you're sitting back and your butt goes between your feet. So feet should be on either side of your hips here. If this is easy for you, congratulations, you are very flexible. Be sure to make sure, release the flesh from underneath your butt so that you're sitting on your tailbone. You can feel your hips and your bones of your body supporting you. If for any reason this hurts or it feels painful, please be gentle with yourself, come out of it as needed. Your back straight, maybe roll those shoulders back. Tap into your breathing again. And we'll very slowly release. This time, we're going to keep our toes behind us up so that we can sit on our heels. Give the backs of our feet a little stretch here. I think this is true with all sports, that our feet do not get the care that they probably need. They probably are demanding of us. Something like ski shoes, ski boots, maybe more so ski boots than snowboarding boots, are not kind to our feet, so it's really important to stretch them out. You can reach back, give the arch of your foot a little massage here if it feels good to you. And even if you're not skiing and snowboarding this season, it's likely that you still walk around and use your feet every day. It's something that we take for granted. After all, they're below us and supporting us in everything we do. So it's important to take care of them, show them some respect. Deep breath here. Left hand on the heart, right hand on the belly. Close your eyes. If this felt fine to begin with, it might be feeling a little more stretchy, a little more sore or tender right now. That's totally normal. Just breathe through it. When you're ready, slowly release. And you can either sit just directly on your heels, or you can even try hero's pose again. Might feel a little different this time around now that we've gotten these muscles and these muscle groups kind of acquainted to what we're supposed to be doing right now. A few deep breaths here. Start to kind of wind down our practice. When you're ready to release, bring your legs in front of you. I don't know if it's easy to see with the camera, but I'm wearing leggings today that a friend gave to me. We're going to forward fold. Inhale up, straight spine, bend at the waist only, as far as you possibly can before kind of collapsing over, reaching towards the toes. You can take a rag, a towel, put it behind your feet if touching your toes is not in your practice yet. So what I was saying is a friend gave these to me, and they are the map of the ski resort Snowmaste in Aspen area, Colorado. And they're probably one of my favorite leggings. But I thought they were appropriate for today's practice. Slowly raise up. We'll take our right foot, put the sole of our foot against our left leg. Inhale, hands up towards the sky, spine long, bend at the waist, and sink over that left foot. Slowly sit up, and we'll alternate the legs here, switching the right for the left, or if you started with the left, switch for the right, vice versa, and sink, and forward. Slowly raise up, so you're sitting upright. You can find yourself at the top of your mat, curl into a little ball, and as long as it's comfortable for you, definitely take into your surroundings. If the floor beneath you is hard, you might need to just lay down, but you can take a few little roly-polies here, forward and back, before we'll settle on our backs for the rest of our practice. You might feel a little crackle or pop. I think that's normal, as long as it's not painful. And you slowly find yourself back to the ground. See if you can tuck your shoulder blades in beneath you. We'll lay the left leg down long. Tuck the right knee into the chest, hug it close. And then bending the left leg, forming a kind of a figure four position here. Left ankle over the right thigh. Reaching through the kind of tunnel that this is made and clasping your arms behind your right knee. Slowly pull your right thigh closer to your chest. This pose is called Supta Baddha Konasana, which translates to supine bound ankle position. It's one of my favorites for glutes and lower back. Just a good leg stretch overall in general. So release here. This time, right leg out long. Left knee in to hug to the chest before we do Supta Baddha Konasana on the opposite side. Flex and point the left foot here if you want to. And then the right leg comes up, forming that angle position. Hands clasped behind the left knee. And gently, with grace towards yourself and your own abilities, pull your knee towards your chest. Gently release. And last thing we'll do before settling into our Shavasana or our resting pose is Happy Baby pose. This is another good one for lower back. You're going to have a big bend in both of your knees. Take your peace fingers and grab your big toe. And you can open your legs out wide. I like to keep my legs bent at a 45 or 90 degree angle or so. You can rock back and forth if that feels good to you, or straighten one leg and then the other. And slowly release those big toes. Feet meet the ground, slide out so that your feet are towards the edges of your mat. Tuck your shoulder blades behind you and on the ground. Open your palms, hands out for each side. Take one deep breath in and just let it go. Release whatever stress, whatever soreness, whatever anxiety you have. Just leave it behind for the last few minutes of this practice. Truly try to connect to this moment. Maybe tap into some of that flow we had spoken about earlier on. Connection to the present moment. Let time slip away. Be proud of yourself for showing up, for whatever skills you mastered. The progress you made towards more self-awareness, strength, flexibility, just your breathing. Stay reclined here. Sink into your Shavasana. Feel free to tune me out. Get lost in your own thoughts, or if you continue to listen. A little quote here. The title of this passage is called "The Present is All We Possess." Were you to live 3,000 years, or even a countless multiple of that, keep in mind that no one ever loses a life other than the one they are living, and no one ever lives a life other than the one they are losing. The longest and the shortest life, then, amount to the same, for the present moment lasts the same for all and is all anyone possesses. No one can lose either the past or the future, for how can someone be deprived of what's not theirs? Today, notice how often you look for more. That is, wanting the past to be more than what it was, or wanting the future to unfold exactly as you expect. When you do this, you're neglecting the present moment. There's a saying worth remembering. Yesterday's the past, tomorrow's the future, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. This present is in our possession, but it has an expiration date and a quickly approaching one. If you enjoy all of it, it will be enough, and it can last a whole lifetime. I'll leave you for a few minutes here. Take a moment. Start to come back to your body, wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers, maybe shaking your head yes or no. And slowly, with your eyes still closed, find yourself into a fetal position on either the right or the left side, whichever is most comfortable for you. Slowly make your way up into a seated position. Again, keep your eyes closed. Go at your own pace. Once you meet me here, we'll seal our practice. A few deep breaths. I hope this practice opened up a door you didn't know existed. Maybe tapped into some areas where you could use more strength or more flexibility, whether that be flexible in your mind or your body. Or maybe just gave you a chance to relax today. I encourage you to find your flow, whether that be skiing or yoga or any other activity, meaningful thing in your life. To follow it with intention and embrace what you love most about the present each and every day. We'll inhale here, raising our hands towards the sky, clasping them in a prayer position and slowly lowering them so that they hover in front of our forehead, reminding us to think kind thoughts. Lower the hands now to hover in front of your lips, to remind us to speak kind words. And lastly, drop them to our hearts, to remind us to lead with love, lead with intention, and care for one another always. And with that, we can seal our practice with our last word, which is Namaste. Namaste, yogis.